Hi, I'm Mark Elliott, Yellow Hat Home Inspections. I'm just going to give you a short video, gives you some advice on maintaining your foundation in Texas. In Texas, it's important that you maintain your foundation. You see, the soils in North Texas contain highly active clays, and these exhibit high degrees of expansion and contraction when they're wet, and they shrink when they dry. This situation can result in severe vertical and lateral displacement of the foundation. It will move, and it can move over a matter of weeks. In fact, it can move over a matter of days. Now, this repeated variation in soil moisture that causes foundations to move also places undue stress upon the structural elements of the building, which is like its walls, its windows, the doors, the sheetrock. All of those things can be affected by this movement in a foundation due to the moisture content of soils. And there are a number of key ways that you control this type of condition to prevent it happening and damaging your house. So infamous are Texas soils that even the Army Corps of Engineers did a study on the soils in Texas. And this illustration you can see in front of you now actually comes from a paper which was written in the 1950s. If you want further information on this, drop me an email and I'll give you links to be able to go and download it for yourself. But here what it's demonstrating is a building that's being affected by several types of foundation movement. And the area where foundation movement shows itself is in the walls, not necessarily in the foundations, although cracks can appear. This is because the foundations themselves mostly are post-tension cable foundations. They're very, very strong. In fact, they're malleable. So if you suspect you've got foundation movement, but it's not enough to notice that the floor is rising or falling, go and look at your windows. And what you're looking for are cracks. Right here we've got diagonal cracks running down to the foundation, and then there's vertical cracks running up to the roof line. There's a variety of ways in which the foundation will move. One way is central heaving. It's where the soils beneath the slab start to expand and push the middle of the slab up. And then there's what we call down warping, edge warping. It's where the edges of the slab actually start to sink down. There's a lot more than just this, but for the moment, understand that looking at your house is an important thing to do, and going around and looking for cracks in the side of the building on a regular basis, every 2 to 3 months, will help you understand whether or not you're maintaining your foundation correctly. Every few months or so, take a little bit of time out to walk around your property. And as you walk around your property, have a mental list of things to check for. You see, soils in Texas, as I've mentioned, are highly active soils. They're clays that exhibit a high degree of expansion and contraction when they're wet and when they're dry. Now, this constant expanding and contraction can lead to damage to your walls, your doors, your windows, etc. in the building, because the foundation itself will move. Most of the foundations in Texas these days are post-tension cable, and they're very flexible, they're malleable, they bend, but the walls don't. Now, repeated variations in soil moisture can cause the foundation to move permanently, and that's something you need to look out for. This can happen over a very short period of time. So when you go out and look around your house, look at the ground at the foundation. You can see in this picture here, this is what we call the grade wall. Okay, and if a gap opens up here between the soil and the grade wall, then your soil is drying out, and you need to look to increasing the amount of water and watering you do to actually improve the soil condition. When you're walking around, also look for the opposite: wet patches, erosion, gutter downpipes that may be discharging at the foundation. These are what we call conducive conditions, and they too can lead to foundation failure. Drainage is also important. You should maintain the gradient of the soils around the house. What this means is that there's a slope away from your house, from your foundation, and that slope should be maintained. Don't allow it to get eroded. Since most of the soils that your foundations are on are clay, they're quite good at shedding water very rapidly. And you'll find in between each house an area called a swale. This is for drainage. You should keep these clear. Don't put structures in. One of the worst things you can do is block it with a fence. It causes local wet patches. Again, this can cause your foundation to move. So ensure your drainage areas are clear of debris and maintain the soil areas around the grade beam. I showed you the grade beam earlier. This is another grade beam here. This is a house with a basement, not common in Texas, but it's good enough to illustrate what I mean. And you can see here that there's a downpipe and it's discharging against the foundation and it's eroding it. This grade beam should have soil up to about 4 inches from the top. That's the top there. So maintain the soil levels at the grade beam at all time. In addition, if you don't have gutter extensions, your condition is like this here, fit them. They're very cheap. They're $4 to $7 each at Home Depot or Lowe's. Very inexpensive and can maintain and can remove water from around your foundation very easily and help you maintain the condition of that foundation. Large trees and shrubs consume tremendous amounts of water, and really they should not be placed near to foundations. Now, having said that, it's very common to find them placed there. They're actually put in by the developers. If you plant a tree, don't put it too close to your foundation. Keep it about 30 foot away. But if you have a tree planted near your foundation, you need to start paying particular attention. The roots can be quite large. This is just a schematic illustration of a tree, and basically the root system goes out to the canopy. So if your canopy of your tree, this is the canopy of your tree overhangs your roof, then the root system will also be up close to your foundation. So pay attention, make sure that you're not getting cracking in the soils and that the soil is pulling away from the foundation. If you see this happening, you need to actually increase the watering, especially during hot weather in the summer, also during very, very dry spells that we get in winter. Remember, in winter we can have a drought in Texas as much as you can in summer. So don't stop watering because the grass is not growing anymore. You're watering not to grow the grass, you're watering to protect your foundation and keep the ground moist around your foundation. So let's just summarize. It's very simple. Take some time out to look for gaps in the soil and cracks in the ground around your house. Look at the soil levels around the foundation, make sure they're not too low. Watch out for wet patches and erosion at different places around your foundation. If you find cracks appearing at window corners, both inside and out, you might have a problem, so start to pay attention. If you find doors are sticking and windows are sticking, then you really need to start paying attention. Now, when these things happen, small cracks and stuff like that, or doors stick, it doesn't mean to say that there's something radically wrong at that stage. What it means is there's something going wrong, and you should take action immediately. Don't wait until the foundation has moved. I've seen foundations at one point. I've measured them, and they're flat. 6 months later, I've gone back and measured them again, and they've risen by 3 to 4 inches. Why? Because nobody took care of that foundation. They didn't water around it, they didn't look after it, and as a result the foundation moves. This is nothing to do with the builder, it's nothing to do with anything other than the soil types that we have in this part of the world. And really, as homeowners, we've all got to pay attention to our foundations and what we do to preserve them. Anyway, I hope this helps. If it does, send it on to some other people, anybody you know that owns a house that might benefit from understanding how they can look after their foundation. This is Mark Elliott at Yellow Hat Inspections. You can get me on 972-832-3460, or you can go to my website, yellowhatinspections.com. If you've got any questions, drop me an email at mark.elliott@yellowhatinspections.com, and I'll do my best to answer them for you. Bye for now.